We'll get started momentarily. I know Councilman Martinson is in the building. As soon as he comes in, we'll get started. Thank you. But you don't have to be quiet. Not.
It's the panel. It's the new.
Welcome to the Washington City Council regular meeting. Today is Wednesday, November 8th, 2023. We are at Washington City Hall in the City Council chambers. If you noticed on the door, there's a little QR code. If anybody wants to see the agenda, you can scan that and follow the agenda, and also all of the packet items that the council uses to prepare for the meetings. You'll notice the cameras in the council chambers. Our meetings are streamed live. They're also stored at washingtoncity.org/meetings. And I would also just like to have you take notice of the much better sound, acoustics, and aesthetics. We just installed the soundboard up above, and it seems to be much better than it was. Dick and Laurie will be the judge of that. They're at every meeting. But we have done a little bit of a refresh in our city hall and in our council chambers, and we think it looks pretty nice. To start the meeting, we have in attendance with us this evening Reverend Derek DeTony Hill from the United Methodist Church, and I'd like to invite the Reverend to come forward at this time.
Thank you, and good afternoon, friends. Glad to be with you, and thank you on behalf of the Interfaith Council for allowing us to come and to offer a prayer before your meeting. It means a lot to us, and I want to say just a real quick word. The Interfaith Council seeks to embody unity and the way that religion can help people work together. In fact, the word religion comes from, one of the base words is ligare, which is the same word for ligament, or the base word for ligament, which means to bind together. Unfortunately, religion has been used to separate people and divide people. We seek to work in a different way and work together and seek unity. So thank you for allowing us to be part of this. Let's pray. Gracious Lord, thank you. Thank you for the beautiful day that we have, for the beautiful part of the world that we live in and can enjoy. We thank you for your blessings on our families, on this city, on all the ways that we work together and are able to help to enhance our life together. We're mindful this week, especially of veterans, those who have served our country and have faithfully given of themselves, their families, for our security and others who have served us as well. And we pray that as we celebrate Veterans Day, you would bless those celebrations and those remembrances. We pray, oh God, for these leaders who are before us. Give them wisdom and courage and vision for the decisions they make, not only today, but week to week and day to day. Bless us all, watch over those we love. We ask this in Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Thank you, Reverend. Appreciate your comments and that beautiful prayer. Thank you. And I know you're busy with your flock, and so you're welcome to stay as long or leave as soon as you need to. At this time, I'd like to invite Lieutenant Corey Klotz to come forward and lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Lieutenant.
Everybody stand if you're able, please. Repeat after me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America
and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'd like to just take a moment to welcome and recognize a few individuals here with us this evening that aren't typically with us. And we welcome each of you here, but particularly just want to recognize St. George Police Chief Whitehead, Kyle Whitehead, Cedar City Police Chief Darren Adams. I'd like to recognize Hurricane Valley Fire Chief Decker, Hurricane Police Department Chief Exel, and also appreciate and welcome Captain Youngberg from the Ivins Santa Clara Fire Department. We know you're busy, we know you have a lot, so it means a lot that you take a few minutes to be with us here today. Before I call council, before I call for an approval of the agenda, the applicant and the city have asked that we remove items 7A and 8A, as that development agreement has not been finalized and therefore not quite ready for council consideration. However, I can tell you that with Thad's expert work, we're getting very close, and I anticipate that to come back as soon as we possibly can. It needs to come back forward. I'll also just mention, council, that we do have need to go to closed session for pending or potential litigation. So with that said, I will turn to you for a motion to approve the agenda for this council meeting.
Mayor, I can make that recommendation for approval for our November 8th Washington City Council meeting, removing items 7A and 8A.
Thank you, Councilman Ivy. We have a motion on the table.
I'll second that.
I have a motion by Councilman Coates. All in favor?
Aye.
We have an approved agenda. Let's move on. And I will also, just for the record, note that, well, I'll get to that. To start off with tonight, though, we had a great event here on Saturday, and it was the second annual Battle of the Badges Chili Cook-Off. The event was sponsored by UDK, Utah Disaster Cleanup, and this year for the benefit of an organization called Youth Futures, which provides temporary housing amongst other things, other necessities for homeless teens, which I know the PD wouldn't be, and the fire department wouldn't be surprised by that, but many of our residents would be. It's a serious problem in our greater community. And certainly they have limited options for those who, those teens that should always have the proper care with a roof over their heads that are typically provided by parents. And they help provide things like food, clothing, hygiene, Wi-Fi, other resources for these that are just really too young to be vulnerable like they are. But the event was amazing. I don't want to get us down on the cause because what we saw is multiple agencies from around the county gathered right here at Veterans Park in a lot of good chili. First of all, I was full, but then just a lot of friendly competition. And so they each created a booth, and there were community members who were able to come in and buy a ticket and taste test and be the judge of that. But before I tell you how those results turned out, I'd like to just recognize the board members from Youth Futures who are here: Scott Catuccio, Scott Laws, Ben Huff, and also representative from UDK, Rich Monk. And Rich, I invite you and the board with Youth Futures to come forward at this time. I think you have a little something for them as a result of this event. And Rich, feel free to add anything you'd like for a moment to the council.
Face this way or
Well, why don't you fill in anything I may have missed to the council, and then we'll come down and we'll officially
Okay.
make
Great.
that.
This is our second annual Battle of the Badges. It's just a lot of fun. It was a labor of love, and we've got some of the participants. Anybody involved in that, raise your hand or stand up. Stand up. There we go. We had 11 teams. We had fire departments. We had police departments. We had the Washington County, I guess it's Communication Center Dispatch. They dispatch everybody.
Yeah.
We also had a team from the hospital ER. Those are first responders. And it was just a great activity. We were just thrilled to be able to work with these guys and looking forward to it. It's just getting bigger and better. And we appreciate all the support from Washington. And good. So I've got something I want to present real quick.
All right. And Rich, maybe just before you do that, Scott and I are friends since Saturday. I think, did we meet on Saturday or did we just meet today? Either way.
I think we met briefly on Saturday.
Either way, would you mind just filling in some of the gaps that I missed about Youth Futures? Would you just tell us a little bit more about your organization and the need? Anything you'd like to share?
Oh. We've been around since 2014 when we first opened up in Ogden, and then we were invited by a group trying to solve some of the youth homelessness in southern Utah 4 years ago. I'm just really amazed at the level of interest and support and awesomeness that I met and got to be involved with on Saturday. You are all just really amazing folks. Along with the things that you listed that we do, the reasons why kids are homeless are all over the place. Whether it's from homeless families or abuse or just differences of opinions, why some teens we support from ages 12 to 18 can be homeless. Even if it's just a fad that a 12-year-old wants to run away from home. But at least there's a place that they can go, that the parents don't have to lose their minds completely about where's my kid. I just wish that we were in existence when I was a kid. So for all the people who don't have kids that are currently homeless or problems or with those difficulties, I'm so very grateful that everybody helps and supports. So,
Thank you for what you do.
thank you.
Thank you. Ben, please.
I'm new on the board here, but I want to just point out as well a couple things that weren't mentioned that stood out to me, and that is that there are in Cedar City maybe 500 or more homeless teens, and so it's got to be a lot more than that in Washington County, right? Another thing that also wasn't mentioned is that there are there's a lot of counseling opportunities for those youth who are struggling that are provided through Youth Futures. And in addition to that, there's also counseling, rehabilitation, and a lot of help for job placement as well. And just a lot of good that's done through this organization. So I just wanted to mention that as well.
Thank you. Now, Rich, I know we're ready to give this, but this is a big check. And I'm not sure that you can hold it by yourself. So if I might be so bold as to tell a few chiefs what to do here, but Chief Exel, Chief Decker, Chief Williams, Chief Whitehead, and Captain Youngberg, would you come join Rich and help present this check? Your departments were all involved in that. And in fact, I think Hurricane's going to have most of the bragging rights for the next year on this thing. So I know, face this way, and I'll ask Michelle or Eldon to get a good picture, and And we'll be right behind you as mayor and council. Face the camera that way. And hey, Youth Futures. Yeah, great. Fantastic. Thank you.
Well, it's a big check, it's not a big like it, it's a big check. On behalf of the Teton Disaster Cleanup, Info West, and Red Rock Media, and all of the teams that were involved in the chili cook-off, we would like to present this check to you teachers. Yeah, upside down, we bounced it, right? There we go. For the amount of $3,080. Like I said, it was a labor of love. Thank you all, appreciate it.
All right, now for the bragging rights. Let it be on the record that Washington City Fire won the judge's choice for the inaugural Battle of the Badges. But I think we had a few agencies that really upped their game this second year when it came to Veterans Park. Now we're happy to host it in Veterans Park again, but maybe it moves over to Hurricane, because the judge's choice for the best chili went to Hurricane Police Department. Congratulations, Hurricane. And Chief Decker, not to be outdone by Chief Exel, Hurricane Fire won the best booth. Absolutely, if you heard that megaphone, and they had a lot of fun. They kept it real all night. Congratulations, Chief Decker.
But did they bring chili? I'm still trying to figure this out. Because I went to all the booths and there was one that didn't have chili. I can't remember, but. So is that a disqualification because they commented that they didn't actually bring chili to a chili cook-off?
I think first place in chowder.
Okay, we'll give them that 1 out of 1, so.
And first place in bantering Apple Valley, who had a really good chili. Their secret was chocolate, they said. They put a little chocolate in the chili. Now, the People's Choice, Chief Whitehead, for the best chili, went to St. George PD. Congratulations, Chief.
Mayor, can I step in right there? So I was one of the judges. So full disclaimer.
We tried to rig the whole thing.
There's
it didn't
no
work.
corruption in politics because all of our neighboring towns won. So just want to mention that. But no, that was a lot of fun. And that chocolate, we all knew, all the judges knew it was something. We just could not pin down what it was. So anyway, a lot of fun, a great cause. What I loved is see all the unity between our community departments and the support that we feel from our neighboring cities that we appreciate so much.
Yeah, we value those relationships, and often it's all hands on deck when needed in our community, so thank you. Tonight at 6 p.m., many of us will be attending the Washington Area Chamber of Commerce Gala, where we award various citizens from throughout the community and recognize them for all that they do. The city offices will be closed on Friday, November 10th in observance of Veterans Day. Veterans Day celebration countywide is celebrated right here appropriately at Veterans Park. It will be held on Saturday, November 11th, with the parade starting at 11 a.m. It'll start at the community center along 300 East, turn right onto Telegraph, and then finish up Main Street. We invite the entire community, especially veterans and those who love and appreciate veterans, to be there. Immediately following the parade, we'll have a very brief but heartfelt program. If you've been to that before, it's worth your time. If any of you know Susan Hancock and Burke Staley, they really do a good job with making sure. And then just with Veterans Day coming forward, and I saw some council members up there this morning along with some elementary school kids, and they were there. And first of all, thank you for our parks department. They had the cemetery looking so good. They'd even edged around every single headstone, but they had elementary school children from Washington and Riverside there putting a veteran marker and a flag on 420 headstones. It was really something. It was incredible to see those fifth graders there. I even observed one of the young men just cleaning off any little grass clippings and debris from around the headstone. They took just a moment to pause, and then they were taught to salute those veterans. So really good that we're passing on that type of behavior to our children. As a reminder, the municipal election is going on right now. The final day to vote, or if you're voting in person, is on Tuesday, November 21st. So I encourage you to vote. City offices will be closed on Thursday and Friday, November 23rd and 24th, in observance of Thanksgiving. And our next regularly scheduled council meeting is December 13th. We will find a time to hold a special meeting to canvass the election, and if there are any other pressing items, we'll add that as well. Just a few other items that, since we won't meet again in this meeting until December 13th, Christmas in Dixie is just a fantastic event. Another thing right down here, I know Councilman Martinson's always been helping out with that event. The tree lighting ceremony starts, the event is Monday, the 27th of November. It's always the first Monday after Thanksgiving. The tree lighting is at 6 p.m. sharp. There'll be ongoing entertainment out here at the pavilion. There'll be hot chocolate. There'll be donuts. There'll be wagon rides up to the Covington home, which is the kind of the historic home in our community. So we just invite you to come out and kick off the holidays the right way. And then recently, you may have heard in the news that Washington City Council led out in remembering the lost ship of World War II, the USS Utah. So starting this Pearl Harbor Day, which is December 7th at 8:01, Councilman Ivy?
8:01.
Because that's the time of the initial attack, we'll have a very brief memorial out here at Veterans Park in front of the Veterans Memorial. Council, that's all I have. That's a lot. Did I miss anything?
I've got a few, Mayor, if you will.
Councilman.
The Crop Hunger Walk is coming up. If you're okay if I announce that.
Please.
It's on 18th of November at 10 a.m. It's the Washington County Crop Hunger Walk that's celebrated every year. It's generally on the second Saturday in November, but since it's Veterans Day this year, they've moved it to the third Saturday in November. So it's on November 18th, and it's at Larkspur Park over in Bloomington Hills in St. George.
And Councilman, that's part of your role with the Interfaith Council. Great.
And another event on Veterans Day, which does not conflict with our parade, is United We Pledge does an event, and it's the first of its kind that they're doing down here in southern Utah, where they are bringing the largest flag, free flying flag in the United States, and they will actually fly it in Snow Canyon State Park.
Cool.
So there's an event on Veterans Day at 9 a.m. at the dunes at the Snow Canyon State Park, where they'll actually unveil that flag, and they'll have a little event and some breakfast and stuff. So it's a perfect event to go over there and then come over here for the parade at 11. So
wonderful.
Thank you.
Thank you. And City Recorder, if you'll just add those to the council calendar. Anything else?
Mayor, I would just mention that our Crimson Cliffs football team has had a tremendously good year. They went through region undefeated, and they're playing in the state quarterfinals at the University of Utah on Friday, November 17th at 11 a.m. against Ridgeline. And if they win that game, then they play in the state championship game the following Saturday. So just want to wish them well. That's a great school. We so appreciate the school district and our relationships there as well.
Wonderful. Thank you, Councilman. Okay, moving on. Are there any declarations of abstentions or conflicts to declare this evening? Item 4, presentation. I'd like to, at this time, the Utah Chiefs of Police Association accreditation will occur. We'll turn to St. George Police Chief Kyle Whitehead, Cedar City Police Chief Darren Adams, and our Utah Local Government Trust Representative Mike Stagg. Chief, are you leading out on that, or are they leading? Come on forward.
Good afternoon, Mayor and Council and City Manager. So excited to be here. It's always a pleasure to meet other councils and have the opportunity to brag a little bit about other police departments. Before I get started on my official business with the representing the Chiefs Association, though, I just want to let you all know how much I hope you understand how much of an asset you have here in Washington City with your department and a great leader of Jason Williams. You know, we talked about partnerships earlier and how critical those are here in Washington County. And Jason is absolutely behind public safety here in Washington County. And so I just want to take an opportunity and thank you for putting him in this role and for the department. I realize it takes a whole department to make it work, but I just want you to know from my perspective how valuable of a partnership we have here. So on behalf of the Chiefs Association, I'm the vice president here in this region. Darren Adams, where'd Darren go? Darren is was the accreditation manager for your agency. And so he's gonna talk a little bit about the accreditation, but let me just start off by saying this accreditation is very important for police departments. In the last few decades, we've seen the importance and the value in getting police agencies more professional. And there are over 100 standards. Darren will talk about how many there are that are out there to try and bring police departments more in line with best policing practices today. And so I hope you all are very proud of your police department. This was a grueling process, something that has taken a lot of time throughout the agency to make sure that these standards are met. They were subject to interviews and inspections by Chief Adams. And so just a great opportunity, and I hope you're proud of your police department and their accomplishments. So I'll turn the time over to Darren.
Thank you, Chief.
Thank you, Chief Whitehead. Good evening, Mayor, Council, staff, City Manager Red. Darren Adams with Cedar City Police. I can't echo enough what Chief Whitehead has said. I had the opportunity to be the assessor for the police department and got to work very closely with Stan McCauley, the accreditation manager. This is not an easy accomplishment. There are 109 police agencies in the state of Utah, and I think we just achieved 45 of those agencies that have achieved accreditation. So we have got a lot of steam moving forward in this very important endeavor. And so it's pretty much a feather in the cap of your city to have this when there are so many who have not. But we're trying to get to the point where we can get every agency accredited. And so I just want to echo Chief Whitehead's comments. We have a great relationship both in Iron and Washington County, of course, with Chief Whitehead and Chief Williams and Chief Excel and those who are represented tonight. There's 176 standards to accredit in the state of Utah, consisting of bias-based policing to evidence operations and emergency vehicle operations and training, just to name a few. There is a lot that goes into that, proper policy, proper procedure, and I cannot say enough about Stan and what he did to put this together. He was easy to work with, always pleasant, always smiling, which you don't find oftentimes when you're engaged in such difficult work, but he was just fantastic and represented the city well. We were able to accredit in Cedar about 2 years ago, and so I know intimately what this takes. I ambitiously took the accreditation manager upon myself. I won't do that again. I'll delegate that. And so I know how hard that is. So we can't be more proud. And again, on behalf of the Utah Chiefs, Kyle and I both serve on the executive board. We're pretty biased about Southern Utah, and it's represented well on the executive board. So with that being said, we want to present this to Chief Williams and his staff. I'm just going to read the plaque here. These are brand new. I didn't even get one like this. It was wood. So this is fantastic. Washington City Police Department approved and accredited in recognition for the completeness of the standards for certification and accreditation as prescribed and mandated by the Utah Chiefs of Police Association, August 2023.
Tough act to follow there. Huh? Mayor, Council, City Manager Red, thank you for having me. Mike Stagg, Utah Local Governments Trust. I'm the Loss Prevention Manager there. And Chief Williams and his staff have been such a great partner with us at the Trust. We enjoy policing. We love the police officers and the work that they do. With this accreditation, there's a lot that goes into it. Not only have they done this accreditation process, Chief Williams and his staff and his officers, they've been fundamental in our deployment of the active bystandership and law enforcement, the ABLE project. They have been a fantastic partner with us, and we are really grateful for their support as they've gone through not only this accreditation process, but the ABLE program. And what I came here to present today is that the Trust is happy to reimburse all the costs that were associated with the accreditation of their police department. So I have a check to present to the chief today for that, as well as some stickers so they can place on their police cruisers to kind of, show off a little bit. Say, hey, we've done this, we've gone through the accreditation, so that the community at large can see the great work that these individuals have gone through. So, Chief, if you come up, I'd like to give you these. Thank you. Thank you. Thanks for all you do.
Stocking stuffer money.
Chief, this is a pretty big day, and we're going to want to hear just a little bit from you. But just as you're sitting down, Chief Adams, Chief Whitehead, we got to get a picture of this. We've got to document this time, and so if you wouldn't mind coming back forward, and then we'll let.
And can we get Officer Klotz up here as well?
I'm a man of brevity, so I'll keep this sweet. But I did not pay any of them for any of those comments. Those are all genuine. But this has been quite a process for us. This is actually, we started this process back in 2018 when I became an assessor for UCOPA. In fact, I performed the assessment on Chief Adams' department, where he became accredited. But we started this process back in 2018, and like they said, there's 170 some odd standards to go through. And I was trying to get through all those standards while Chief Keith was still here. That didn't happen. We tried. I had Chief Adams come down. He did an assessment and said, not quite, try again. And so we did. And we kept trying and trying. We had COVID hit, so that slowed things down. I was lucky enough to convince Stan, who works in our evidence room, to come on full time and be a part of this process as our accreditation manager. So he was able to go through, and he's very thorough. And next to him being thorough is Chief Adams, very thorough. And we weren't skating by with anything. So I appreciate their their attention to detail. But this is big, and this is a huge accomplishment for our police department, but furthermore for our entire city to showcase what a great achievement this is. So I appreciate my staff and the support from this council as well. So thank you very much.
Stan? Macaulay?
Yes, sir.
You've been shouldering a lot of this.
Yes, I
What
did.
is this? What does this mean to you? What is this? We're crossing the finish line, taking a victory lap.
Yes.
Tell us how you feel.
Very happy that it is done. It was 32 chapters, multiple sub-chapters, 176 standards, but who's counting? Yeah.
Chief Adams apparently is counting.
Yes, oh, he was counting. And thank you to Chief Adams. He was very helpful, very nice through this whole process. Some agencies were keeping this process a secret, but not Chief Adams. He was very helpful on it, and that helped.
What were some of the obstacles that you had to overcome? Don't go into too much detail, but what were some of the biggest accomplishments along the way?
The biggest, it's just actually getting it done. When I first started, I was working part-time, and it just was delayed in getting that done in a part-time. When I was offered the full-time position, that made this project very easy, and it expedited the completion of it. And it was just very thankful to get it done. It's only really just the beginning. This continues. This is a living document, and it's not gonna, just today, it's not over. The accreditation is gonna continue and grow, but the hard part is over.
Fantastic. Is there anything else you'd like to share?
Just, I thank Chief Williams for giving me the opportunity to work on it and to give the Washington City this accreditation. And it does mean a lot to me and to the city, and I really appreciate it.
Well, job well done. Let's give him a round of applause. Any who would have other things to do, like saving lives. And thanks again for being here tonight. Council, I'll turn to you at this time with item number 5 for the consent agenda, consisting of the approval of the minutes from our meetings of October 25th, 2023, the October 2023 Board Audit Report, and a final plat for Hoodoo Hollow Phase 2.
Mayor, I make a motion we approve the consent agenda as outlined.
Thank you, Councilman Coates. You've heard the motion.
I'll second that, Mayor.
Second by Councilman Henderson. All in favor?
Aye.
Consent agenda is approved. Item 6, public hearing. 6A, this is a public hearing and consideration to approve an ordinance for code amendment of Title 4, Chapter 6, Section 4, pool entrances. Community Development Director Drew Ellerman will present to the council on this item.
Thank you, Mayor. I'll keep this really brief. The ICC pool codes changed over the years. It used to be at 4 feet. The pool code now is at 4 feet 6 inches for those latches into those required gates. This ordinance is just to keep current with that and just to bring it in. So it's simply raising 6 inches because the ICC pool code changes to 4'6". So I'll be glad to answer any questions you have on this big change.
Just change it to 5 feet, just for future, so we don't have to come before and do this again.
I think we should just change it to say whatever the building code it requires on this. If this is a state code, why don't we just say
Yeah, we could have, it doesn't change that often. I mean, in 18 years I've been here, it had been at 4 feet for 18 years.
So is this just the latch or is it the height of the fence?
It's the latch itself, the latching portion of it is up there.
'Cause the fence has to be
I guess
6
kids are taller nowadays than they used to be, so I don't know, but I'm surprised that it went here, but this is the first change in a long, long time on those latches. So
I just wonder if we prevent further. I don't know. It's not a big deal. I just was thinking, whatever.
No, your point is well taken, Councilman. Any further discussion on this item? This is a public hearing. If there are any in the audience who would like to come forward to speak to the amendment of this ordinance regulating pool entrances and the height of those gates, I invite you to come forward at this time. I'll officially open the public hearing. Seeing none, I will close the public hearing and I will turn to the council for further discussion and or motion.
Make a motion that we approve the ordinance amending Title 4, Chapter 6, Section 4 for pool entrances as outlined in the packet.
We have a motion on the table by Councilman Coates.
Second.
Second by Councilman Martinson. As this is an ordinance, let's go roll call. Casperson.
Aye.
Ivy.
Aye.
Coates.
Aye.
Henderson.
Aye.
Martinson.
Aye.
That amendment is passed unanimously. Item 7A, it was removed from this agenda. We'll have it on a future agenda. We'll move on to item 8, which is ordinances. Item A is a companion item to item 7A, so that is also pushed forward to a future meeting. We'll move on to item 8B. This is a consideration to approve an ordinance for zone change Z-23-11 from R16 to R2 located at 139 East, 300 North. City Planner Eldon Gibb will present to the council on this item.
Thank you, Mayor. The requested change is from the current zoning of R16 to a proposed R2. The R2 request is for the purpose of developing the 0.58 acres into a residential development. This particular location has a general planned land use of medium density, which supports the R16, R18, and the R2 zoning designations. The surrounding zoning to this parcel is the R16 to the north, east, south, and west. Staff has no concerns with the proposed zone change as outlined. The Planning Commission reviewed this request on November 1st, 2023 and recommended denial. That was a 3-to-1 vote of Z-23-11 for the zone change request from the R16 to the proposed R2, noting that it would be best to leave the zoning as is for now with future Main Street connections to Interstate 15, changing the traffic patterns in the area. And I am happy to answer any questions you may have at this time.
Council, further, any questions for staff before I invite the applicant to come forward?
Mayor, if I may just read one thing from the R2 zoning. In section 9-8C-2, it states the R2 is for 1 two-family dwelling or 2 single-family dwellings on an individual lot built in accordance with chapter 21 of this title and conforming to the density standards in this section.
That's an R2.
That's for the R2, the proposed zone.
Say that again, just so I'm clear.
1 two-family dwelling or 2 single-family dwellings on an individual lot built in accordance with chapter 21 of this title and conforming to the density standards outlined in this subsection.
Before I invite the applicant to come forward, I'll just, for the record, make note that the public hearing on this item occurred at the Planning Commission level. And I just do want to note that each of those individuals who spoke at that meeting, their comments have been made part of the record, and this council has reviewed those. Just by raise of hand, are those, who is here this evening for this particular item? Okay, See if you, okay, thank you. Applicant, are you the applicant? If you'd just come forward and present to the council on this, and if you wouldn't mind just stating your name for the record.
Kevin DeMille.
Thank you for being here tonight, Kevin. Is there anything you'd like to add to you've heard the staff report and the brief discussion that has been had here. Is there anything you'd like to add? And I'll give you plenty of opportunity to speak on this item.
It's fine. First off, we don't want to offend anybody, especially the neighbors there. We looked at this piece. I was looking to find a place so I could build a place for my son and his wife, get him out of my man cave. But we met with Eldon, and he was very professional, and then we met the JUC, and they had no complaints whatsoever, and they was very professional. Our goal was just to build 2 duplexes there and do a lot split and do those there.
Can we not do that with the current zone?
No.
Why not? It's an R16. You can do a lot split. You'd still have enough.
Well, you could make 4 6,000 square foot lots. He has the acreage to do that, but problem is that the width required in the code, he doesn't have the width in the lot, because we have a minimum width on a R16, which is 66 feet. The lot itself is 124 or 122, and so, and then you need the pole, access back to the back 2 lots for 2.
Yeah, I don't know all the details. I'm just sitting here thinking, if it sounds like it's just 2 houses and that's why you're changing to the R12, you can fit a lot split on there with the current zone. So
You can, but he'd only get one home per lot if he did a flag lot.
What is your plan?
2 duplexes.
Duplexes.
But we were gonna put one at the front and then one at the back, and they would have their own parking.
That still
Their
meet the
garage, each one would have their own garage.
Does that still meet the R2 zoning designation? Because what I just heard from Eldon was that it was one building per. So that's why I'm asking.
No, what it is you can have 2 residents per lot. What he would do is take this lot and make a flag lot scenario, split it in half, and then he'd have 2 lots that were R2, and then each one would have a duplex on it.
And they would be like 12,000 square feet, a little bit over that, each one of them, so 1/4 acre lots.
All right, thank you for clarification.
2 singles. Councilman, did you have something to add?
I was just gonna ask Drew, if we were to leave the zoning the way it is it possible to get 3? Tell me about the R16. I mean, is it possible to get 3 residences on there with a shared driveway or shared access driveway?
In that particular case, probably yes. You could probably get 3. I'm just, bear with me here. I'm not.
And I probably wouldn't do that. I don't want to just cram it in there. We wanted to do it nice. And,
right.
And the duplexes we'd build would be nice, and so, but I don't want to do it just to cram them in there. If I was going to do anything, I'd probably just build 2 houses there to make it.
Okay.
Yeah, the only issue, Councilman, just to add on that, I'd have to get with the fire chief on this to see there might be concerns about the depth of them having that 3rd lot back there. So
Right.
I didn't want to jump that far, but that could be a possibility, but they'd get 3, and then you take, I think it's like 29,000 square feet roughly, and
What's
divide
the
it by
difference
3.
if you do what they want to do versus this? It would be the same thing.
Well, that's why I'm saying it's just, again, because the way the code is written, I mean, what I'd want to do here,
Yeah,
Sorry.
I'm just saying if there's a duplex in the back or if there's 3 units, what's the difference? For fire code, I guess is what I'm saying.
well, and plus he's wanting to get 4 units and not just 3.
Yeah, so I'm going to try to be clear. Is that if we can put 4 units on this based on the change of the zone, instead we put 3, why would that change with the fire?
Matt didn't have a problem with any of it, with what
I
we were
just
trying
want
to
to be
do.
clear.
Well, I'm not
You just
saying there
wanna
is a
check.
problem. I just want to check before we can go there.
Okay.
Because I know that it gets into distance, off of a main road and I don't want to overspeak because I can't remember that code. Remember a lot of codes, but that's one I don't always keep fresh in the forefront of my mind, but that's the only reason I state that, so.
If we keep the zoning the same, you would most likely build two homes on a lot.
I mean, that would be what we'd have to do.
So just where I'm at, I'm more comfortable just leaving it the zoning that it is myself. So,
I think what jumped out at me is the surrounding zoning.
yeah,
That it's R16 on all sides. And just to be really clear, though, it hasn't been mentioned, but I think everyone needs to understand that whether it's no matter the zoning, they still have the ability to build a two-story, right? There's no limitation on that. And so whether it's a duplex or a single, they still could build a two-story up to 35 feet without, I mean, that's a vested right. So we make sure that we understand that as well.
Well, and one of the reasons that we moved forward and bought the lot too is, it's master planned that way. So I know you pay a couple of $100,000 for a master plan or more. So what's the point?
Kevin, I
of
think
having a
you make
master
a
plan?
really good point there, and I'll just share a little bit from my angle. I was on the council when with other good council members when this particular R2 zoning was inserted into our master plan, and it was for use of some of these deeper lots. It provides for some of that infill, and so it was thoughtful and intentional from prior councils with their intent on the R2 with the use as Eldon explained. It's interesting. I was a panel speaker at at what they call the HAC, the Housing Action Coalition, and it's a group of government and private sector individuals that look for strategies for attainable housing, and I actually put together 4 or 5 slides, and one of the things that I put on those slides intentionally was that there is an R2 zoning. So council, I am not looking to be inserted in your role, but I do want you to know that there has been some intentional history with opening up the option for R2, and the purpose of that is to be able to start to infill some of those deep, larger lots with places where the next generation can afford to have a roof over their head. So I'm not making a case one way or another, but I am trying to give you some context. And I mean, certainly housing is a critical issue for us. Kevin, I'll give you an opportunity just to share a few more thoughts before we turn to the council for more discussion.
No, I mean, that's fine. I don't want to build just a single home there because the lot's huge for that area right there, and it'll just end up being, I can promise you, there'll just be all kinds of stuff in there with that much property.
Is it 0.58 acres right now?
0.58, yep. So.
Yeah. Thank you.
So thank you.
Thank you, Kevin.
So Drew, I really like that one that you're pointing to right there.
Yeah, so this one I want to allude to is because in our code, the minimum width on an R6 lot has to be 66 feet. So if I put 2 of those side by side, I'm at 132. We're at 124, I think, on this lot, the total width, and that's without the flag part. What we did on this one is it's a minimum of 26 feet for a flag lot. What we've done in the past, because the fire department's fine with this, is we split this 26 where each one has 13 feet, but we still get our 26 feet for the access. And it becomes an ingress, egress, public utility and drainage easement that strip does. So the issue is that he's already 8 feet plus the 26. Now, I will point that in the council did in the past, I will show you another almost identical project. After this one was denied PUD zoning 4 times, I think. This little 4, conglomeration right here, the council waived the 66 feet and gave them what was left and needed, minus the 26. So I think these came out to be 59 apiece instead of the 66. What's that?
Is that a lot?
I can't remember exactly, but I will give you, this will get us close.
And we happen to be very close to
Yeah,
that
so
lot
it
right
was,
now.
like I say, I remember it being 59, 60 feet, so they, because after the 4 denials of the PUD, because all the folks came out, said they wanted single family, so I just proposed that, the council bought it, the applicant was happy getting the 4, then we went on our way, but, so this one, and again, let me just go the overall, what we started with.
Come on up, Mr.
So you can
DeMille.
see we had 25 more feet on this one versus what we have right now.
But they won't be side by side, they'll be staggered, so we can do a lot split and make that goes away.
No, we're just showing them an option for you to still get 4 units is what this is versus 2 duplexes having 4 singles.
What
But
was
that's
that?
what it would take.
150? Or 102? Or we're at 134?
We're at 124 on his lot, the width. But again, I need that 26-foot access travel lane.
Yeah, you gotta have that.
So you would have to, take the 124 minus the 26, each one of those would be what, 49?
50 feet.
Yeah, 50 feet basically wide. And I've got a floor plan I could let him use to fit on a 50-foot wide lot, but he may not like my floor plan, but I drew one 7 years ago for someone on a narrow lot. It's a pretty neat little house, but I'm not selling it. Don't think I'd let him have it.
So Drew, did you talk about what the applicant, Mr. DeMille, is talking about? He wants to put 2 that wouldn't be side by side. Let's take a look at that and see what that.
Well, Mr. DeMille, so right now, as far as the process goes, we're at a zone change level, which means you don't have to talk about what you want to do in the future. You did mention, are you comfortable with talking about what you would like to do in future steps, I guess, before we go down that? Are you comfortable with that? There's a process that takes steps and I didn't want to get out in front of the steps there.
I mean, this isn't exactly what it's gonna look like, but this is what that's 45 feet wide.
Did you have that the other night at the planning commission?
Drew, is your plan better than that one?
Well, mine's a single family residence, but yeah, it does look better because that's a duplex. It's not against yours, I'm just saying duplexes don't.
I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Drew, on those properties that have the 4 single families, what's the zoning on those?
They're R16, they meet it.
Okay,
He's
yeah,
got the
that's what I
acreage.
thought,
There's
yeah.
that's why I say there's, even if we give him 4 singles versus 2 duplex, it's still 4 homes. The acreage is the same. He has the acreage to do either one.
Yeah, but
So-
I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't put 4. I'd rather have them together as a duplex, because then I can make it look like there's 2 houses there instead of 4 of them and cram them in.
Yeah.
If I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna do it right, so.
Yeah, because this way it's more open space around the homes versus 4 of them. Like when you go to that other, it seems like, they do swallow up a lot of that 6,000 square feet. This would feel like it's more open to do 2 duplexes side by side.
Thank you.
I guess my main concern is, and I like the R2 zoning, I'm just not sure if this is the right spot and the right lot size for it. What I like about the one up on 400 is it feels more like single family homes. It's got a different feel. I'm just a little worried about this location feeling like multifamily, and I'm a little concerned for the neighbors that way. I mean, the way I look at it is I look at my own house and my own neighbors and imagine that lot next door to me getting 2 duplexes, I don't know.
Yeah. So I'm gonna be devil's advocate just because, might as well. But if you can put he mentioned 1,200 square feet, and you put a single 2,400 square foot home, 2-story, it's the same size. Now, potentially you got more parking issues that we have to deal with, so I agree with you on that, but what's the difference between a 3,000 square foot home that can fit on that and a 1,200 or so, besides the parking? That's how, I'm just trying to look at it the opposite way to just for the discussion. I agree with what you're saying on, it's not really around these areas, but it is a large lot, and either way, we should make it multiple units. It's just, what is that?
Yeah.
So, because we can't dictate if it's 2 stories or not.
No, yeah.
They have the right to do 2 stories. I think we've had this argument on a lot of developments that come in that, hey, I just don't want the 2-story townhome right next to me. And you're like, okay, I get that, but you could have a 2-story massive house and you can't do anything about it.
But it's just still a single family home. That's the difference. So.
Well, I think
four duplex or 2 duplexes is four homes. Yeah. And so I'm just not sure if that's right for this location.
I'm going to add on to that. I think fundamentally, you've got the R16 zoning around there. I think it would change the inherent feel of the neighborhood for that. I think that if the applicant is pleased with is okay with the 2 units, I think that for me personally, I think that would kind of keep that neighborhood basically the way it is without feeling like it is multifamily or dropping, I hate to use this term because it's overused a lot of times, but I'm not a fan of spot zoning. I think that the zoning was there for a reason, and I do understand the R2 and the reasons for that, but I would like to see R2 maybe on a bigger footprint is kind of where I'm at.
I drove over there yesterday, and I'm kind of feeling the same way, that I feel like some places downtown it makes sense to have the R2 zoning, but for this spot, in between those homes, I just don't know if it makes sense. Is what I was going along the lines with those, keeping it how it is.
Drew, what's the acreages right next to it, like those lots? Just a quarter acre, just give or take?
I would think that these are close to, well, if this one's, they probably are close. I mean, I could
just keep
square it out if you wanted.
The only other thought I had is 0.58 acres is you could fit 4 6,000 square foot lots if it was somewhere else. So, and that meets the zone is all I'm saying. I think the issue you're having is that it doesn't meet the requirement of the 60-foot frontage.
That's the only thing that ties it from going to the 4. Yeah.
But it sounds to me like if we left it the R16, they can get 4 if they want to, but they just can't do the duplex. So that's why I'm trying to say.
Then have to get your floor plan, Drew. It sounds like the master at work.
It's actually a home built here in Washington, so it's already.
I recognize that we have some community members that we know. I'm looking at you. You had the opportunity to speak at the public hearing. Did you feel heard? Were you able to express the things that were on your mind? I recognize your faces and the names there. Did you feel like you had an opportunity to speak to this particular item? Or is there anything that you, and I know the council has watched that somewhere in attendance. Was there anything on that record that was not said at that time that you'd like to share now? I might just allow for one brief comment from the group of you there, if you're comfortable with that. I see. If you'd come forward and we know you, but if you'd just state your name and just some brief comments for anything that maybe we didn't hear last time.
Yeah, and I was a bit more emotional last week than I am this week. Thank you for driving by and seeing how small that lot is. And then also just a block down from my house, I'm kitty corner from this lot.
And if you just also state your name.
Oh yeah, sorry, Regina Hall Ivy.
Okay.
I've been a resident since.
We know you, Regina. Okay. It's just formalities,
But I don't know where the 2-story, as far as I know, everybody that's here today don't care about the 2-story thing. That kept coming up. That's not what we're concerned about. We're concerned about the traffic. We're concerned about it not being families that are going to want to be neighbors. Yeah. We're already getting neighbors that don't want to be neighbors. So it's more the fact that we want families that want to be a part of the neighborhood.
Thank you for your comments. We appreciate you. Thank you for being here and sharing those thoughts. Council, any further discussion, any additional need to hear from the applicant?
So explain the process if they need a variance on that, if they try to put more units, just so we know. Say it doesn't move forward. I'm just trying to understand what is the process for, because we've done it in the past for other ones, so we keep the same zoning, they come in, it's now single family, but they're doing a lot split on the lot.
Yeah, so what we did, we made them go through, again, because they're doing 4 lots, they had to make a minor subdivision. So one of the requests at the minor subdivision was that the applicant is seeking council's approval to a narrower lot to whatever the stated we ended up with, and the council approved that preliminary, that it's not a preliminary, sorry, it's a final plat in essence is what that is on a minor, and they approved the width as part of that subdivision, and that gave it the approval to override the minimum 66.
How wide is that lot up on 400 where the 4 single families are?
They had, I'm pretty sure that we met everything, but let's zoom in and have a little looky. So I think this one,
It's 30 feet wider.
yeah. So you take the 26 out, which puts it down to basically 130. That, yeah, this one was off maybe a little. And again, because this one got denied 2 PUD requests, the council was more apt because the people didn't want a 6-plex in a PUD. In fact, this one was proposing a 7-plex, got denied. Then they proposed a 6-plex, got denied. And then they ended up accepting this. So this one's, I think, 1 foot. I think these are at 65. And then the other one got denied 3 times, asking for an 8-plex, and then a 6-plex. And all 3 got denied within a 3-year period. So then we came back and, did the skinnier lot. Sounds like Mr. DeMille may not even want to do that. I don't know if I misheard him or not. Try to do this,
Plan.
but
He wanted 2 duplexes, 4 units. I mean, I think it's tough because I get what we're saying, but I also sit and think I would maybe rather have 1 or 2 structures versus 4. They can fit 4 on there. Just curious. It's kind of just a thing to look at. So, but I don't want to affect the neighborhood. I want the neighborhood to be happy too.
I think the issue for me is the lot frontage, they can't fit 4 on there because the frontage isn't wide enough. But if the lot was wider, then they could fit 4 units and have it feel more like single family, like the surrounding, homes. So that's kind of where I'm at, so.
Council, you can discuss this further. You can make a motion to approve, deny. You could even make a motion to table. I'll turn to you now for whatever direction you'd like to take on this particular zone change request.
Mayor, I'll take a shot at a motion. My motion is for denial of an ordinance of zone change Z-23-11 from R16 to R2 located at 139 East, 300 North. For the reason that I think the zoning is correct the way it is. I think the R16 is correct zoning. There's zoning around it. And to modify that, I think would be inherently unfair to the existing homeowners that live there.
Council, you've heard the motion and the basis. Any further discussion and or motion or a second?
I'll second it.
I have a second by Councilman Member Casperson. This is an ordinance, so we'll go roll call on this. Ivy?
Aye.
Coates? Henderson?
Aye.
Martinson?
Aye.
Casperson?
Aye.
Okay, that decision is unanimous and the zoning is to remain as R16. Thank you, Mr. DeMille, for being here. Thank you, staff, for your work on this. Thank you, residents, for caring about your neighborhood. These are some of the uncomfortable parts of of a growing city, but we appreciate you and your feedback very much. Okay, item 8C. This is consideration to approve an ordinance for zone change Z-23-12 for an extraction overlay to remove material within 47.72 acres from the site for use on the owner's other projects located at approximately Foundry Drive and Smelter Drive. The applicant is Red Waters Industrial. City Planner Eldon Gibb will present to the council on item 8C.
Thank you, Mayor, Council. On August 24th, 2023, the Hillside Committee met regarding the proposed application. The Hillside Committee recommended approval, noting that the areas in the hillside that are being disturbed are non-contiguous and non-prominent features, adding the condition that the applicant shall apply for and submit the required documents for the extraction overlay zone. The applicant is requesting approval to add the extraction overlay zone designation to the current I-2 and open space zoning designations. The total area of the site is 47.72 acres and located at the east end of Foundry Drive, which is just east of Sunrise Valley Industrial Park. The proposed change is for the purpose of having the availability to excavate and remove approximately 4.2 million cubic yards of material. The material is being removed in preparation for the site to be used as an industrial yard to store equipment and materials for construction. Grading of the site will begin closest to Foundry Drive and proceed northeast, with the site being brought to finished grade as the grading progresses. Excavation depths range from 0 up to 134 feet. Drainage from the site will be routed to a detention pond located at the south end of the project, and that's closest to Foundry Drive. This will also serve as a sediment pond. The detention has been oversized to help reduce flows well below existing runoff rates, and the applicant is planning to maintain and service the detention as needed. The applicant has identified the life expectancy of the project between 2 and 5 years, depending on the market, which will dictate volume quantities. An estimated 50 plus trucks will leave the site traveling both north and south on Country Way to varied destinations in the county.
When you say 50, is that per day?
That's their estimated. I think that's on the
Daily
high
traffic on Country Way?
was figured on the high side during the planning commission is what the applicant said.
I'm more concerned about our roads getting hammered as much as they are. That road is done. What do we have to help us with that kind of stuff on that road?
That's one of staff's concern as well.
Because I'm fine with the mining. I'm just not too happy with that road is already trashed, and we have the landfill, we have Western, and now we have community members that are out there too. And I'm not too.
Thad, would it be appropriate, Thad, if we wanted to make a motion that, because I'm not sure, I've never crossed this bridge before, where you would require them to go to the right through the landfill road and not use Country Way? Is that a legal motion?
You can make
Or
whatever
condition, I
motion
mean?
you want. Public roads, we don't restrict public roads and the type of vehicles that cross on them. If they qualify with UDOT's specifications, we don't determine who drives on public roads. It's open to all the public. And so I think that motion, because you're talking about 2 roads that we classify as public, that we solicit public funds for as we submit it to the state for funds every year for transportation maintenance.
Revenue do we get from the mining operation?
Well, I think the answer is if that road's in bad shape, that's because the city's owned it and hasn't repaired it, right? And so that's part of the challenge is it's already a public road. It's not a development that's asking to dedicate a new public road. It is public. It's our road. We've been responsible to maintain it. And so I think the city could entertain a negotiation of, what will they do to help us with maintenance of the road while they use it for heavy use, for example. I don't think that we can determine which of those roads out there people can and can't use if they're members of the public and qualify under UDOT.
Real quick, Eldon, let's have you finish your staff report first, and then we'll get back into the discussion. And I'm sorry, I'm the one that questioned the amount of trucks. I just didn't clarify per day or not.
Those are great questions. No problem. Although the area of the site is secluded between two ridges and not directly adjacent to residential development, staff is neutral in our recommendation. The closest residential home, which is lot 79 in the Red Trails at Sunrise Valley subdivision, is approximately a half mile from the site. And with the increased semi-truck traffic to the nearby residential neighborhoods, there will be an increased wear and tear on the streets. Staff is also concerned with the stated time frame being up to 5 years. Once the extraction overlay is complete, staff is concerned with providing future roadway connectivity to the parcels of land at the back end of this development, which is on the northeast end of the property, and making such improvements to the lot that include landscaping, hard surface parking, and roadway connectivity to the adjacent parcels. Planning Commission heard this request on November 1st, 2023, and unanimously recommended approval of Z-23-12 for the extraction overlay zone request, adding it to the current I-2 and open space zoning designations. And that was based on the following findings and conditions in the report. And Mayor, I'm happy to read those conditions if you'd like. If
Yes,
not,
please.
they're noted in your staff report. Condition 1 states no part of the extraction operation will be permitted closer than 300 feet to a residential subdivision. Number 2, extraction operations shall be strictly controlled so as to minimize any possible contamination of any groundwater. Condition 3, hours of operation will be limited to 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. No operation shall take place on Sunday or legal holidays. Condition 4, all equipment on and off the site utilized in the extraction process shall be operated and maintained so as to minimize the creation and dissemination of noise and vibration from the site.
Can we stop at the holidays? I mean, we can't say holidays just because the city gets 30 holidays off a year doesn't mean that people work a lot of the other holidays. We shouldn't be including I mean, I'm fine if we say the 7.
Is it national holidays?
That's kind of a low blow. I was just to you, Manager Ed, because I don't get them. So
I was just
have
over
to
here
work-
quiet.
I have to work on all those holidays, and I'm pretty sure mining operations are going to work too. So I just think we need to be specific on what we're holding them to. Like if it's the 7 main that everyone gets, then, but even then, some of them don't take it off.
But I also think, Councilman, that you need to consider that during those holidays, they're a time for families to spend time together, and roads and noise may not be conducive to the celebrating of the holiday, whichever it might be.
I understand that, but Columbus Day, I'm sorry, they got to work if they're working.
So if you, Drew, will you scroll?
We have similar limitations, and my guess is we don't get a lot of calls because someone's working on Columbus Day. But if somebody was out there on Christmas,
Just think,
we would get.
for the council to see, there's already a very substantial mining operation right here. So the Western Rock Pit, you'll see it right there. There's already a massive, enormous mining operation that's happening. That's the same type of stuff they're gonna cut, sort, fill, and export whatever they find. And so this is not a use that's new to that area. I just wanted to make sure that the council was aware of that.
Councilman Henderson.
I was just gonna say, my first construction boss told me that in construction, we get 2 days off. Christmas and half a day Thanksgiving. Right?
Did he say which half? Oh, okay.
We choose, yeah.
It's good math right there.
Mayor, while Eldon's up here, may I speak about Hillside?
Absolutely. You finished your report?
I am not. There's still a few more conditions. I'll get through these real quick. Condition 5, where appropriate, the applicant shall provide national pollutant discharge elimination system permits. Condition 6, a grading permit will be obtained from Public Works Department before work will commence. 7, if any geotechnical hazards are encountered or any stabilization is needed, geotechnical reports shall be strictly followed. 8, any deviation from the submitted plans shall be submitted to and reviewed by the city and involve the proper approvals of such changes. 9, time frame allowed for this overlay zone is 60 months, and the applicant shall submit an annual progress report to the city. The report shall summarize the activities carried out and shall include a site plan indicating the current extent of operations, amount of material removed, material still to be removed, and updates on all significant issues raised either by the applicant or the city. Progress report shall include calculations by a land survey indicating the volume of material excavated. And lastly, condition 10, when the estimated 4.2 million cubic yards of material is removed and or the 5-year timeline is complete, whichever comes first, the applicant shall work with the city and submit any needed applications and or provide improvements to the parcel if the applicant desires to further use the proposed land as an industrial use. And that concludes my report.
Thank you, Eldon. Councilman Ivy.
So just to give the council a report, I was actually there at the Hillside Review. Our new Hillside members were there. We had a great meeting there. And like Eldon said, just want to reaffirm that this area is not of concern. It's an area that actually, this is a good high use for this area. So Hillside, there's no concern there. But the only thing I'd mention, seeing that I'm talking right now, and I won't have to jump back in a little bit later, is my only concern with this is in condition 9, where you're talking about 5 years. We don't know what's going to be built around there in the next 2 years. And so I'm more inclined to think that if we had a review after 1 year and maybe a renewal opportunity after 2, so that we can at least have the option of, because there may be other subdivisions approved that would be coming in that you'd want to have this looked at. And if they have a 5-year timeline, I just don't see how we can do that far out and not know what's going to be there. Just my thought.
So I think 5's okay. I mean, it's a mining operation. I mean, the reason why I say that is it's gonna take more than 5 years to do this. They're gonna be back in for the next. I mean, I'm sure they'll be back to say we're not done yet and we keep going. It all depends on how much material they need for the building. So I'm just saying I'm fine with 5, but I get where you're coming from.
We're trying to encourage them to get it done too.
So I did go out on site with the applicant. It's been a while. It's probably been a year, but I think a mining operation is one thing, and that's the overlay zone. This is the process that we have. But I think if you go out and look at the property, it's pretty unusable for anything that the development or anything that the city would be able to do anything with. And part of the process of the mining operation is to flatten the land and create something that can be developed in the future. So I think there's that side benefit that the city gets some developable property that will pay more property tax and other things in the future. So it's not like we're creating an open pit copper mine that has to be, managed at some point. It's gravel, sand, things that they're going to be able to use.
Is there a mitigation plan and a bond in place in case for mitigation if needed? Is that part of it's our grading requirements? So I'm assuming that's also required. Guessing yes.
Another thing to think about is they may not be pulling material off of this every day, all day long. It depends on if they have a place to sell the material and take it. So, and I think he also said in Planning Commission, they're not 100% sure about the quality of the material that's going to come out of there. And so it's a little bit of a gamble on their part. So, but I don't have a problem with it. I think 50 trips a day sounds like a lot, but if you compare it against how many trips are already taken on those roads, I don't know if it's, it's certainly not doubling the amount of heavy trucks that are over there. It's, it's adding probably a single-digit percentage, I'm guessing. So, do we know what the trips are on those roads? Daily trips? Probably not.
We have some future plans. We've been working with the countywide to try to add an extra bridge and some extra egress to that area that will help the whole county. But right now, we have to go that direction.
And that's kind of where I was wanting to go with that, Drew. Could you pull up the master transportation plan and specifically to the road that city manager is pointing out, that Purgatory Road, and if you could just help the council with maybe get the bearings. This is a road that that hasn't been as high of a priority for us, but it is a very high priority for the city of Hurricane, as they've indicated. I've always the conversation has been to extend Purgatory Road, but as Jeremy and I and Blake, welcome back, by the way. It's good to have you. We feel like extending Purgatory Road, and there's been a lot of progress made collaboratively, without a bridge onto Washington Dam Road does our residents on Countryway a disservice, because that Purgatory Road is kind of the back way to a lot of their industrial park along the fairgrounds. So I'm interested to see, Drew, if you can kind of talk us through where this zone change request is, this overlay zone request, and how that would tie into at least the planned Purgatory Road.
So I'm trying to keep my big arrow bouncing there. That's where the overlay zone is just in this valley, right through here.
That road's way out it's way farther than 5 years. So, but it is a second option in the future. I mean, it's good to know, but it's way out for this first 5 years on this. And Countryway will be affected the whole time. But it's also a 66 foot wide road.
I guess my point that I'm trying to make, and I should just be more clear, is, and I appreciate the conversation. To me, with that volume through growing residential neighborhoods, for me, the timing would be better if Purgatory Road would be in place. And I guess that's the point that I want to make during this conversation, is that I'm not opposed to the operation, and to the parts that it plays in our overall economy. But man, I would feel so much more comfortable about this if we had Purgatory Road in place, to be able for that to be a better option than Countryway. Even to the extent we look at when we renewed our agreement for solid waste, we were able to push traffic off of Countryway in that case. And so that I guess that's just where I'm coming at a little bit from this. I'm not anti this project. I wished we had better access. I mean, because even the other access is really difficult, just because of the turns and the grade. So I would see, any additional traffic would be on Countryway.
Can I ask a couple questions to the applicant? So is this material that you guys are going to harvest out of here? Well, first of all, I want to say I like the idea of taking a piece of property that's kind of unusable and making something out of it, and in the process being able to sell the material and earn some money. I love that idea. Will the owner be basically selling to anybody that wants to get fill or sand or gravel or whatever in the county, or is it mostly for their own use at another site?
My understanding is it would just be for all of their sites, right? Which with this company obviously is a whole bunch, right? Many sites for many different projects.
All over the county?
Yeah, for whatever time it takes to go through that, and just market driven. But yeah, it would go all over the place, yeah.
So, I mean, it would be safe to say that not all the trucks are going to go down Countryway. Some of them, depending on where they're going to take the material, is going to go up over by the dump.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, for sure. As you know, this contractor is everywhere in the county. Yeah,
Right,
for
okay.
sure.
So I kind of feel like the mayor does. I mean, every time I go down Countryway and I see all the trucks and everything, it's just like, man, too bad this didn't happen a little better, But it kind of is what it is. I'd be a lot more comfortable with this if we had another access road, but we don't. So anyway, so.
Has there been any geo reports? I mean, the expectation of that soil should be quite low. I mean, would that, if they haul it off, to realize the compaction on it and the quality of the soil for a lot of uses, it's going to be minimal?
That's correct.
Is that going to affect their desire to remove it? they're aware of the quality of the soil there?
Yeah, so everything else in the industrial park, they also developed, right? And so they're very familiar, it's exactly the same formation as what's there, so they're very familiar with that. And then if the soil isn't as good, the intent is still to build one really large lot for them as well. It would just not be, probably have the cut that it has now. It would be higher. Yeah, and so but the same intent would still be the case. And even with that, there would still be substantial amount of grading to be done, even in the small portion, right? Because it is substantial in itself.
So they know what they're getting?
For sure,
Yeah,
100%.
they've been there before?
Yep.
Okay.
I don't know if this helps or complicates the matter, but when I first started talking with the landowner, their first request was for a C&D landfill. So what can we do with this property? Let's fill it up. And I know that doesn't seem like the best and highest use for the city. And I recognize that we're going to have that other road and we have to work hard to get that road in, but it's difficult to say you can't do anything with your property because we can't allow trucks in and out. I mean, that's a tough ask in my mind. And I'd way rather see it turn into some usable property than a landfill that we just fill up that canyon. So.
I think the mining's great. I just am nervous about our roads out there. It's just a big expense for everybody else so that they can run their trucks on the roads. And I know they're public roads, but for years it was just Western Rock and landfill. And now we have a residential neighborhood out there. And now we have an industrial park out there. And it's just the roads are hammered. They're pretty much done. And so either we got a budget to fix them, but I'm just wondering where, and it's just a question, where's the tax revenue from the selling of the materials that the city gets to help pay for these roads? Is it just the fuel and the trucks? Is it just a question? I don't know, because I've never seen what fees we get from a mining operation.
And I think you're talking about a much bigger question is how do we fund our road maintenance going forward? Because the same thing happens when we add subdivisions. Now we have a lot more people driving on a lot more roads.
Subdivision doesn't have.
I get that it's not the same as trucks, but it creates, here we are, we have to put in streetlights, we have to put in crossing guards, we have to, all these things that we don't necessarily get a lot of revenue to cover. So I'm being devil's advocate like you were earlier. So.
At least we can both be it. So I'm not always the devil's advocate.
Yeah, and the other thought, if I could add a couple things to that as well, is that this dirt will be required for those other projects regardless. And all of this dirt is moving across our county right now. There's no difference. It's just where is it coming from? In this specific site, it's going to come from right here. And the applicant's obviously going to do the road standards through your code for weight limits, which is what your roads are designed for, those type of things. So all part of your code now. If in the future you need to upgrade that or change it, that's a different discussion. But another item is that now, before even more people move in, as it goes in and more development has, and Purgatory Road goes in, I would assume that all of that land would be developed as well through there as well. And so maybe it's better now being early without more people in there. Maybe it's not. That's a hard question.
No, I'm for the mining. I think it makes sense. I'm just worried because the road's already falling apart and we have to pay for it. And it fell apart even before the subdivision one is in there, it was falling apart.
Going down
and
Country
that was
Way.
just, and not Countryway.
Oh, sorry.
I'm talking Landfill Road.
Oh,
Countryway
okay.
is fine right now. I'm talking Landfill Road is what's falling
The other way.
apart.
Oh, right.
So that's all. I'm just letting everyone know that it's falling apart and it's just been beat. We got some good road base there, I would say. But there's not much asphalt left.
Landfill Road's pretty bad, especially that spot where the spring's coming up through
Well, I think that's a great road to look for some county participation on. And I think that's a secondary discussion, but where it's used by the entire county to haul the trash for the entire county, I think that's a great one to ask for some help.
And that's something that maybe Jeremy and I can work on. I work with the county in the solid, because in the past, the landfill and the county helped with that road once. So maybe that's what we need to do. And so
We're also trying to find alternate Ironman routes, and that's been brought up as a good one on a weekend when things aren't happening. But the road condition has been brought up as the biggest detriment to moving some of that stuff that direction too.
We could do it on Columbus Day.
I'll be working.
Or the other half of Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
AM or PM, you gotta decide.
Mayor, if you're ready, I'm ready to make a motion unless there's discussion.
I'm not sure I'm ready, but if you'd like to make a motion, go
We
ahead.
just have a thing we're trying to get
No,
to. so-
I understand. Council, it's time for further discussion or a motion.
I'll make a motion for item 8C that we approve the overlay zone C-23-12 for an extraction overlay to remove the material 47.72 acres from the site for the owner for projects.
You've heard Councilman Coates' motion. Is there someone who'd like to second?
Second that.
You have a motion by Councilman Martinson. We'll go roll call. Coates?
Aye.
Henderson?
Aye.
Martinson?
Aye.
Casperson?
Aye.
Ivy?
Aye.
That ordinance is approved unanimously. Move on to item 9, report of officers from assigned committees. Councilman Martinson.
Get us started again. I'll keep it brief. Youth Council was able to participate. They had their annual kind of, not say trunk or treat or haunted house, but at the Covington Mansion. They had their annual Halloween party there. Had a lot of people show up. We have some ideas to make it better for next year. Maybe some zip lines or some scarier events. So
Zip lines?
everybody will want to come next year, just building the suspense. And then the other thing, being a part of the Interfaith Council, they've actually invited me to attend other city council meetings to offer prayers.
Oh, fantastic.
So it won't, they're making an arrangement so it does not conflict with our night, but they have asked me to help.
You would be
participate
great
with
at that,
So,
Councilman. Councilman Henderson.
Mayor, I don't have anything. I will have a mosquito abatement district meeting tomorrow, and so I can report on that. I'll report on that next time, so.
I have nothing tonight, Mayor.
Mayor, I'm just gonna echo what you mentioned earlier in your announcements, and that is the elementary students put out 420 flags today at the city park, the cemetery. And the youth were amazing, the fifth graders. They were tasked with the idea of remembering their veteran's name. And I would just like to let the community know that those are marked, and it would be really nice for people to walk through. And it's really a peaceful feeling to watch through and see those and just recognize the sacrifice that they made for our freedoms. So and we're just excited about Veterans Day, and we just love that that event is held here in Washington City.
Thank you, Councilman.
I don't have anything to report, but I do want to add, the Veterans Day celebrations and everything is absolutely my favorite here. I love the parade and all just everything that they do to honor our veterans. So I'm looking forward to that as well.
Well said. I don't have anything. City manager report.
No, I need about 10 minutes of closed session, so I'll forego my report.
Sounds good. We do need to go into closed session for pending or potential litigation. Look for a motion to that effect.
So moved.
Second, do we have a second?
I'll second that, Mayor.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? We will adjourn to closed session, and then we'll head to the gala.